Okay, so good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining this first session. I hope all of you are in a good condition during these interesting times. So I am Prananda from Industrial Design Department at Institut Teknologi Bandung in Indonesia. So today I'm going to share about my recent research on the craft and design practice in Indonesia with a specific focus on how socio-technical instrument can mediate these practices. So let me provide you a general overview about the topic in this research. So in many regions in Asia, design becomes a strategic tool to overcome social and economic problems. For instance, design was adopted to commercialize the ethnic craft in many regions in Indonesia, Philippines, and Vietnam as well, and also how design was also adapted to improve economic conditions in many regions in South Asia as well. Particularly in Indonesia, design and craft becomes a crucial issue addressed in many institutions. It becomes a research topic in academic institutions and also become an important programs for governmental bodies as well. For example, One Village, One Products. So they address the social and economic problem and also its sustainability by connecting the crafters to the wider market. How then craft and design practice is usually carried out? So interestingly, many approaches in the context of craft and design have been really well formulated. Participatory design, for example, and also collaborative mode of design process are mostly adopted to bring a democratic way of designing process. They engage non-designers, the crafters, and adapting with the local conditions rather than to determine the rigid grand design from the beginning. However, many scholars criticize the approaches that this kind of participatory design have only focused on the micro level activities. They tend to neglect wider institutional influence, for example, historical conditions, cultural and geographical aspects, and also the political capacity of each actors who are conducting these design activities. And interestingly, the type of institution might vary. For example, formal institution includes the system at school, governments, governmental bodies, courts, and so on, while in the informal institution, it comprises of village communities, for example, and it includes the kinship system, social network, and also traditions and cultural system. So by extending our attention, we will be aware how such institutional influence shapes the interests and motivations of such actors, actors in constructing the artifact. But how then this kind of dynamics interest can be mediated? So we have to look at how the diversity of interests are strongly influenced by surrounding socio-cultural circumstances. And we have to see how the interests are conflicted, negotiated, and also reconciled or reconciliated. And we have to pay attention as well to the socio-technical devices which can mediate this negotiation process, and it includes the assemblage of both human and non-human elements that afford the activities. So my objective is to see the dynamic interactions of the actors from various types of institutions, and I want to see how this kind of reconciliation process of diverse frames and interests are facilitated by the socio-technical instruments. So let me show you my ethnographic research into a program organized by Design Center in Indonesia. So the Design Center was established in 2014, and they aim to merge the designers, academics, and industry to improve the craft industry in Indonesia. So the DDS program, or Designer Dispatch Service program, was organized annually, and it only spans for 8 months. So basically, they try to facilitate the collaboration between designers and regional craftsmen in Indonesia to redesign the traditional craft products by aiming the export market. So the vision is only one: try to penetrate the export market so that the small craft enterprise in the region could improve their economic conditions. So this is the only one vision aimed by Design Center. To run this program, they selected 3 supervisors. It includes the design researcher from academics and design professionals, and also one from the representative from the craft communities, usually who involved in the project in the previous years. So this committee selected the designers, and they set the evaluation meetings, and they also organized the monitoring tools so that they make sure this kind of tools can make sure the program is on the track. And they also organized the final exhibition so that designers and crafters can exhibit their products at the end of the program. So this time I will explain the work of Radit and Rizky Klipuk. Radit is a designer, while the Rizky Klipuk is a group of mothers. A craft women consists of 10 people. And they basically resided in the central Java, in the small villages. And the program only spans for 8 months, and they can only have 4 times meeting throughout the times. So before going to the field, the designer should analyze the characteristic of the targeted market. The trend forecasting platforms is provided by the design center, and it becomes a tool for the designers and crafters to see the buying power of customers, the taste of the customers, and also how the trend of the materials and forms are happening in each country. So this kind of tool can actually help them to oversee what kind of trend is happening in each country they targeted. So the group of mothers, or the group of craft women, actually, they consist of 10 mothers, and they already began from long time years ago. And the motivation for them to join this program is to adopt this kind of craft making become their main job, because their jobs actually becomes a laborer at the farm, so that they want to shift, become craft makers, full-time craft makers, so that they can create craft products at their home, so that simultaneously they can take care of their children, and they can also work for household jobs. So at the first and second meeting, they exchange the general information about the production capacity, the portfolio, and also the weaving techniques or other techniques that can afford the production system. So during the discussions, the discussion was actually mediated by this kind of tools, for example, the mood board. So it becomes a guiding reference for the designers and crafters to discuss in details about the ambience and also the environment where they will place the products in the future. So these tools is becoming a medium to share their own ideas and share their skills and what they possess. So generally after this meeting, they can understand each other about their own capacity, so that they can start designing and crafting. So for the third and fourth meeting, it is mostly about prototyping and finalizing the products. But it was quite fascinating to see how the discussion between the designers and crafters was really flexible and really fluid. For example, the evaluation process usually conducted during lunchtime. And during lunchtime, they usually discuss about the progress, about the prototype. And during lunchtime, usually, the neighbors came, also the chief of villages came, and they also had a lunch together during this evaluation process. So when sometimes they got trouble about the progress of the design, they could easily find the solutions because the ideas came up from everywhere. Like the neighbors can suggest something, and also the chief village also suggest something to improve the products. So it's really flexible in a way how they process the products. Although such flexibility, they needed to write down every single progress in a form called design progress report. So the supervisors from the design center can evaluate and monitor every progress, while at the same time, this becomes a tool for designers and craftsmen to oversee their own progress. And without hesitate, they can follow up each progress. And finally, they should display their own works at the biggest trading exhibitions. It's really important moment for all actors, including the staff from the design center, because it becomes a show-off moment to another institutions. While for the crafters, it becomes a really important experience to interact with real buyers, and also for the designers can test or can assess their design, whether it's really suitable for market or not. Although not all members can achieve to penetrate the export market, the design center can compromise these situations. They stated that at least this moment becomes a crucial experience for designers and crafters to understand how they process or how they design the products for export market. So what can be summarized from these presentations? So craft and design practice is resulted from the dynamic entanglement of actors in micro until the macro levels of institutions. The influence includes the daily activities of craftswomen, about the household work, also the daily behaviors in the villages, which influences the crafting process. But at the same time, they have to compromise with the strict set target from the design center. And these kind of situations actually unveil how the motivations and interests are diverse according to the situations in each institutions. So that this diverse interest actually can interfere the progress, but it could be mediated, it could be negotiated and reconciliated throughout the process. So the reconciliation process can be carried out because each actor have a strong adaptivity to each influences. For example, the actors can adapt with the condition in formal institutions. They can adapt with the administration work. They can also attend full evaluation meetings. But at the same time, the designers and crafters, as well as the staff from design center, can adapt with the informal situations of the craft villages. And for example, the habit or the rituals, as well as the social connections that is really strong at the craft villages and so on, and also the limited local resources. But how then this kind of diverse interests and situations can be mediated? So we have to see another important aspect of the socio-technical instrument. It comprises of set of standardizations, for example, the design progress sheet, and also the system of evaluation meetings, or also the system at the craft villages. And importantly, about the vision to create a product for export market. This kind of one bold visions actually control every single progress in this design program. But this kind of instrument and set target are actually loosely standardized in a way how the vision, how the people or the actors in this involved in this project can adopt this kind of set of instrument according to their own mind, according to their own thought. For example, like vision in the vision from the design center to export to create the product for export market can be compromised, right? For example, the staff said that it's okay to fail, not to achieve the export market, but at least it becomes a crucial experience for all people here to understand how to create export products. So this kind of loosely structured and loosely vision or loosely standardized vision can be interpreted by multiple actors, so that this kind of heterogeneous mindsets, heterogeneous motives and interests can be negotiated, and they can work together to complete this design program. So thank you so much.